Hello, everyone. It's Alexandria, the Care Girl. I am coming on to talk about how to prepare for the care of an aging parent. I have been in, for those who don't know me, I have a home care agency located in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been in home care over a decade, and I'm just coming on to kind of give a little bit of advice on how to prepare for your aging parent because there's a lot of confusion on what to do and how to do it, and I've seen families go through a lot of different issues and problems from not preparing. So I thought I would be of help and and I'm coming on to just talk about those things. So I know people will be trickling in. Once again, I'm the Care Girl. So I just want to start off with a little bit of a story because I think that some people don't believe that their parents will age, and that is not the case at all. Sometimes it happens sooner than later. Even I've even seen parents age and they're very well until age like 99, and then then they may have some type of issues. But I'm here to kind of just answer some questions if anybody drops any questions in the chat, but also to give you a take on what I have seen in the industry and how to really see your parents off to a great start when it comes to them aging. So I recently went into a home and the family didn't understand the need of care, and they didn't understand what to do because the parents had apparently been out of touch. So sometimes you do have family where the kids or the adult children, they're not in good relationship with the parent, and that is understandable. But in the event where you are the only person left in line to actually care for that person, I just would advise that you kind of really be closer to them, or you appoint maybe a care agency like mine to oversee the care. Because what we can do is we can actually bring a registered nurse in and assess the need. And a lot of times, family caregivers or the adult children, they're busy, in their life, just doing different things, and they don't understand the severity of the situation until there is death, or God forbid, a hospitalization, or rehab, or situation to where they're like, oh wow, like they really can't live on their own. So what I want to do today is kind of reverse engineer how we can handle a situation like that. So the first thing that I want to say is that there always should be some type of meeting of the minds when it comes to an aging parent. Could be 65 plus. This could be 50 plus, 55 plus. It just really depends, because if your loved one already has a um, a diagnosis such as cancer, or chronic diabetes, like for me it was my grandmother had multiple sclerosis, and she eventually needed total care. So my mother was spearheaded the meeting of the minds of that, and she ended up bringing in a care agency and different caregivers to help her as she went along the journey of multiple sclerosis, which could be very trying and debilitating, right? So God forbid that there's a diagnosis of some sort that's earlier than 65, and then you have to take over that parent's financial um, bank accounts. You have to take over the actual care of the doctors, arranging doctors, because eventually my grandmother wasn't able to use her hands. So that means that you have to have somebody there from start to finish in order to receive the care that you need. So let's say that there's no diagnosis of any kind, and you're just going to have a meeting of the minds of all the children inside of that parent's home, right? So this could be Thanksgiving. This could be just a normal family reunion of the children, and you coming together. And the way you start the conversation is you say, hey, You know, you guys are aging and you just want to be ahead of things. We would like to know, can we, you know, create some type of Google Doc that you share with all of us, or you share with, you know, with Sherry. Sherry's the oldest. Like, so Sherry is going to take on the responsibility of keeping ahead of different things, such as, you know, hey, when is your last doctor's appointment? Because a lot of times our parents are not going to the doctor. It just really depends on, you know, they could be living out in the country, or they could just not believe in the doctor because they lived in a different time than us, where they had all these different remedies, and you know, they could be afraid of the doctor, such as a lot of older males that I've seen. Like, they don't want to deal with doctors because they may have had a bad experience, or they think that it's just a ripoff. And in that case, you know, there are different practitioners that may be willing to come into the home to do some type of medical workup, so you can get like a baseline, which a baseline means like the basis of you know, their health. You know, because you may discover high blood pressure and they're not taking anything for high blood pressure. You may discover something that's high cholesterol. That way, you know, if you discover these things early enough, it doesn't cause a heart attack, and you can say, "Hey, mom, you know, I saw that you on your doctor's visit that your cholesterol was high, your blood pressure was high, so you're not on any medications for either of these things. So I think that we need to discuss getting on a medication for these things. That way, you know, we can combat it causing a further illness in you know, within the inside. Because if you don't deal with the high blood pressure or the high cholesterol, what does that cause? It could cause a stroke, right? It can cause a heart attack. So there's different diet changes. And if a medical physician says, hey, I believe that they should be on some type of medication, then there's a conversation with the parent to actually have the medication that they need to manage that blood pressure or high cholesterol. Because sometimes it's, you know, this is the diet that they've been on their entire life, so they don't want to change it a whole lot. So you run into a lot of stubbornness as well, and that's something that I want you to understand as well. You will run into stubbornness, but you know, as long as you're facilitating everything, you're doing everything inside of your power as the caregiver of the family member, then you definitely want to make sure that, you know, they have a most recent doctor's visit. Now let's talk about, like, they've had a past illness before. Let's say they are a recovering cancer patient, right? So you definitely want to make sure they're doing their scans. You want to be in touch with the oncologist. You want to be ahead of anything that could be newly discovered, because the earlier you discover something, the better you can combat it and get the treatment for it. But the longer you wait and put off certain things, you know, that ranges into you getting into the realm of stage 4 cancer, or just, you know, you can't, you know, there's just no way to even combat that disease because it's just so far gone, right? So that's the first thing you want to do. You want to start early with having those care conversations. If the parent hasn't been to the doctor in a while, you want to get a baseline, take them to a primary care physician, get the screenings done, all of the screen, get the mammogram done. We should understand and know what our parents have had within the last 2 to 3 years. And if there's something new that it needs to be worked up. And then you also just want to say, hey, how are you feeling? Right? You want to say, how are you feeling? Do you feel like there's anything that you need to do in order for your health to feel better? Are they working out? Are they walking on a daily basis? Are they getting the water intake that they need? You know, things of that nature. What's the diet like? Because sometimes you may go to a parent's house, even if it's a grandparent, and you notice that they're eating all processed foods. That's not healthy. That's not a healthy lifestyle. You may go in there and notice that they have all expired items. So just actually, you know, having a pop-up where you may come unannounced to pawpaws. You may go unannounced to mom and dads because they're going to just tell you over the phone everything's fine. But you're not going to see on the surface what's going on until you actually go and dig in and see, okay, wow, you know, mom hasn't done laundry in 2 or 3, 4 or 5 weeks. Why not? There could be a memory issue that you're not picking up on because they're so good at having a conversation with you over the phone that, you know, if you're not actually physically there in the home, you're not going to see the dysfunction, right? So looking inside their refrigerator, there's a bunch of expired items, and they're drinking spoiled milk. They're drinking, they don't have clean water, right? Checking the water inside of the sink and actually like seeing if there's quality water coming out or if they need filtered water. Just little changes like that. And also just also checking to see if they've had some falls. What if your grandmother comes to the door, your mom comes to the door, she's fully covered, it's summertime, she may be hiding sores, she may be hiding bruises from falling, right? Because they don't want to own that something may be wrong with their brain, right? They just don't want to bring attention to you because you're busy, y'all have families, and things of that nature. So I think that we need to understand we need to understand that our family members need help beyond just a FaceTime and a phone call. So sometimes we're just that busy. So even if you guys as a family unit appoint one family member to take care of that person or to check on them per se in person, that will go a long way. Okay. So we went over 2 things: start early and also to assess their needs. Create a support network. So you may have a neighbor that is younger than your parents that you can call on to do those check-ins as well. So I would definitely bring to their attention, hey, I'm worried that mom's not getting her groceries on time. I'm worried that they're not having a proper nutrition. They're not going to the doctor's office. So you may partner with that neighbor and say, hey, I can give you this amount of money, or I can give you this service in exchange for helping. Or they may just want to help. They may just want to help because hey, your mom or your dad is their friend. So you just say, hey, I really, these are the things that's happening and going on. Of course, with their parents' consent, you bring them in, because sometimes they are a sound-minded body and they don't want other people knowing that, that their health is declining somewhat. Because a lot of people they're very prideful, and especially, older men. And even some older women, they have worked themselves up to a certain prestige, and they don't want people to know that, hey, I have this diagnosis now, and I need you to watch out for me. So you can also, call in help without giving all of the diagnoses, and you just say, hey, I just want you to keep an eye out. Pop in once a week, just give me an update. And there's also different ways as well. You could use a digital tablet, right? You could use a digital tablet, like some type of digital care source. I actually have this in my company where there could be like a medication management tool where, they have to click on a certain alarm or alert in order to show that they took their medication. And they even have medication dispensers to where, it can show that they have taken certain medications, and you could actually kind of FaceTime them and show that they, and they take the medication in front of you. So it's different ways. I understand some families are pretty far, or they may be, you may be in Canada, mom may be in Georgia. So it's impossible to really get that one-on-one. But once again, if you partner with a care company or a neighbor nearby to where they can actually come and be that in person, then you will actually be creating some type of team for them. So I talked about a Google Drive earlier. So those documents that you want in a Google Drive is, in the event of, one of the parents, both parents are not cognitive, and they're not doing well, and they cannot sign for their own rights or anything. You do need a power of attorney, which I would suggest a attorney help you with that. So you have to figure out which family member is going to be the parent of attorney over those parents. And this is a discussion that you would have with your parents when they're of sound mind, because it's harder to get a power of attorney when they are not of sound mind, right? So that's one document that you will have. You will have the most recent doctor's notes inside of that Google Doc. You will have, what bank are they with? And if possible, voided checks to show the accounts account numbers. So whoever the power of attorney is need that information, because you need to understand what assets they have. What insurances do they have? Do they have any long-term care insurance? Do they have a life insurance? All those documents should be in one folder, so where you can access them readily if there's a hospitalization or if there's a sudden death. So you won't be fumbling around and you're not fighting with probate court to get these assets that they actually have. Like, what assets do they have? How much money is owed on these items? These are hard conversations, but those conversations should be had because things do happen, sudden deaths do happen, and also a dementia diagnosis could turn your family member's brain memory around within seconds. So the next thing I want to talk about is, yes, you do have to go through the financial planning stage. And because if your parent is diagnosed with something that's super major, they don't have long-term care insurance, they do have assets that they may be able to turn into liquidate, because you might say, hey, we need to go ahead and start getting some type of care in, because I can foresee that, you're going to need total care, right? So start pricing care. Care today is from $25 to $30 an hour, which could be thousands of dollars a month. And if you don't know what your parents are working with right now, and if it happens, you as the adult child will be taking care of that parent, one, in your own home, or you'll be responsible for finding a personal care home or some type of assisted living for them, but you will still need to know what benefits that they have. So I would look at places in the area, start pricing them out just in case, and also see how much is the home free and clear. Could that be used for collateral for care, right? Just looking at all of the things that your parents have, and in the event that they need total care, hey, you're assigning a family member to move them into their home, and you all are, taking rounds of taking care of them, or they're aging at home in place with a home care agency like mine, or they're going to a particular community. I would not recommend a nursing facility at all whatsoever. So making sure you have, the financial plan in place, and also the legal documents in place by get that done with an attorney. And, some family members, they may have a trust. So knowing just what things that they have financially set up in order for you all to have the access to that trust, or those just different things. And they may have money set aside for care as well. And I do advise that there's some type of account for care if the parent does not have some type of long-term care insurance or Social Security and things of that nature. So home modification. So if someone is having issues and problems going up and down the stairs, and their bedroom is up and down the stairs, you're noticing more falls, they're telling you they're falling more, they've had head injury because of falling, then the stairs may need to be adjusted to, a chairlift. You may need to put a chairlift up there. Guess what? You may have to move mom and dad downstairs, and you may have to block off the stairs. That's something that can be done as well. And you have to explain to them, hey, you've fallen too many times, and we're going to move your bedroom downstairs. Hospital bed. The hospital bed, if it's hard for them to get up and down, and someone is wheelchair bound, you may want to consider getting a hospital bed. Start looking at prices of hospital beds. A cane. Just even with dementia, you have to dementia proof for home. So start looking at modifications for dementia. Certain locks, certain locks for your stove, so they can't turn the stove on. Certain locks for the sink, so they can't overflow the sink. Just different things. So just different things for different diagnoses that you may come across. Even removing the salt. I hate to say that, if mom has high blood pressure, this salt, you may need to turn it into some type of other salt, right? What is it? The Himalayan salt, right? Or some type of, I don't know what different salts there are, but just removing certain things that could worsen their symptoms, or just cause them to deteriorate more, because it's not a healthy thing. Also, recognizing and keeping track of who their healthcare providers are, organizing medications and healthcare appointments and considering accompanying them to the doctor's appointments too. So you know, mom may have a neurology appointment that's months from now, but you're in a different town. Preparing to fly in and actually being there physically for that doctor's appointment is very important, because you want to keep track of every incident, and hopefully you have a caregiver in place that's documenting every incident, so everything that's going on, just in case there's a medication adjustment that's needed. A lot of times, some of these specialists are booked out, and you're not, and you may not get to see that specialist, but you need to be documenting what's happening in the home at every moment. That way, the adjustments can be made. So yeah, so those are my that's my take on, you know, preparing for care of aging parents, and just having those regular check-ins with them matter. And let's also talk about being prepared for an emergency. So in the event of an emergency, you will have to develop an emergency plan in case of unexpected situations or medical emergencies. Make sure your parents have emergency contact information readily available everywhere, no matter where, you know, because if somebody's, so you have these buttons when they fall that they can press when they lay down. I mean, when they fall down. And also they have different watches that can detect when a fall has happened. And so you want to make sure you have these different devices in order to be able to manage falls and different things that may happen in this emergency situation. And you need to be able to have the neighbor's number, or whoever is the child nearby readily available to meet someone at the hospital with your family member. Because how scary is it? You're at the hospital, you've had a fall, you don't remember anything, you don't know what's going on, and nobody that you know and recognize is there. You got a bunch of doctors and nurses telling you this and that, and you have nobody that you're familiar with. That's very scary. So preparing to drop everything in the event of a parent that a parent or a loved one has an emergency is very important, and you have a plan in place. Hey, this is the emergency preparedness plan, and you let your caregiver know or your neighbor know, hey, this is the chain of command. Call this person, call that person, call that person, and let us know what's happening and what's going on, because we are not in town, right? So, and as soon as you can get to that parent, because you want to make sure they're receiving the proper care and attention. So I would also, every doctor that they have, I would have a report emailed to me, faxed to me, or I would like to have access. I would like to be a person that's on the portal to be able to view all these things. And it's important to view all these things. It could be one little slight change that a doctor makes to a medication and you don't catch it, and your mom is acting off, or your dad is acting off because of that medication change. But if you're not keeping track of the records and in their visits and just reading through that data, because sometimes you can question a change. You can say, hey, I don't think that this change really helped mother, because this, and this happened. Your caregiver notes correlating with the doctor's note. It's a circle of care. So having some type, even if you have an independent caregiver, they should be writing notes daily even if it's a notebook or a shared Google Drive, to where you're reviewing them weekly and say, okay, all right, no changes happen here, no changes happen there. Okay, let's see how she's acting on this new medication. You let your caregiver know, hey, she started this new medication, so I would like you to watch her a little bit closer to see if it helps or if it doesn't help, because people will be re-hospitalized if a medication is supposed to be taken and not taken, or if it's taken and it causes some type of allergy or just an adverse reaction to where the behavior is worsened. So I hope this helped you all today. You can find me on thecaregiver.com. And if you have any care needs, also just contact me or DM me on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. And my number to actually call me is 678-808-9193. I hope you all have a blessed day. And I hope this helps someone. Drop some questions in the comments, and I'll definitely reply to them via typing and texting you. Text me back, and you have a great rest of your day. All right, bye-bye.